Well, more on the Queen's speech in just a moment. In fact, right now with Boris Johnson, the Foreign Secretary, is live on PM. Thanks for joining us.
No, not at all. My pleasure.
Last July in Downing Street, in her famous Just About Managing speech, on the day she became Prime Minister, Theresa May described several burning injustices, as she put it, in our society. I want to look at them. What does this Queen's speech do to make sure the criminal justice system stops treating black people more harshly than white?
Well, there are measures in the, I believe, in the bill on the courts, which I think is supposed to address some of those issues. And I think one thing in particular that we are looking at is measures to. Hang on a second. There are all sorts of measures that we want to take to ensure that we do not discriminate against everybody, and I think you'll find that the Prime Minister has been strong on that in her response, particularly to the attack in Finsbury.
Well, let me help you a little. She's talked about a race disparity unit, an audit, which we publish later this year. It's going to highlight differences in outcomes in every area, including criminal justice, but offers no solutions to the burning injustice that she highlighted. I want to ask you about another burning injustice. What does this Queen's speech do to help white working class boys go to university?
Well, one of the things that we want to see is good schools for everybody and greater investment in our schools. And so I think perhaps the most important thing that the Queen's speech does is continue to have to support economic growth for this country.
So well, I can tell you that in the speech and in the Downing Street briefing notes,
invest in our education.
The working class aren't mentioned in neither universities.
Can I just make my point? The objective of the Queen's speech, there are three objectives. The first is to make sure that we have a good Brexit, a successful Brexit.
I'm asking you about getting white working class boys to university.
And if you'll forgive me, I'm coming to that point. What we want to see is a fantastic educational system with better schools, and to make sure that we increase we make sure there's a ladder of opportunity for everybody. So what we will do is support schools, in particular academies are already being sponsored and supported by universities, as you know. It's a great part of their outreach work, and access to higher education for all sectors of the community, particularly white working class boys, is one of their priorities.
Right, so let me turn to another burning injustice that she highlighted. What does this Queen's speech do to improve mental health care?
Well, what we want to see on mental health care is a proper understanding, and there indeed I think you will find, to get back to your first question.
Well, why don't we do the questions in the order I'm asking them? It's not a Two Ronnies sketch. You can't answer the question before last. I'll tell you what this Queen's speech says. It promises a review of the laws on mental health and a discussion paper on children's mental health. There are no policies, just a review and a discussion from a party that's been in government for 7 years.
It also mentions the injustice that you spoke of earlier, which is that too many people under the current Mental Health Act come from ethnic minorities, and who are sectioned and who end up in police cells as a result of the current procedures. And we want to try to address that. So I appreciate your desire to sort of push me around, but that is
I've got a desire to deal with the burning injustices which Theresa May herself highlighted in Downing Street less than a year ago.
And I've tried to give you some answers to those things.
Well, let me ask you about another one. What does this Queen's speech do to help young people buy their own homes?
Well, what we will do is go forward with a massive programme of house building under
every government says
Sajid Javid, and we're going to build 1 million homes by 2020, another 500,000 by 2025.
How does it help young people buy them?
Well, because we will make because the objective of a vast house building programme is to increase accessibility and affordability, and that is what we will do. And I might mention, by the way, that many young people are currently in the position of having to rent their homes, and they would appreciate, I think, the measures that are being were announced today to stop letting agents from charging unnecessary fees, and to cap the deposits that young people are currently forced to make for their rental home. So we are going to get on with a huge program of home building. I think you're asking a reasonable point about how we can particularly make these homes accessible to young people. I think what you need to do is to have part-by-part rent schemes that enable young people to get on the ladder, even if they don't have the cash to pay for a big deposit. And we will be supporting those.
All right. These are all things Theresa May herself declared were burning injustices. In this Queen's speech,
she's right.
There's not a single concrete policy announcement in any of them. Let's turn to the policies which less than 2 weeks ago.
If I may respectfully say to you, I don't think that's true. I think that I think I've given you on mental health, on housing supply, on the other issues that you raised.
All right.
There are considerable measures in this Queen's speech intended to deal with those very burning injustices, and that is the ambition of the Conservative Party and the ambition of this government.
Thank you. Let me turn to the policies which less than 2 weeks ago won the support of 13.7 million voters. Ditching the pension triple lock, reforming social care, energy cap, 100 new free schools a year, an end to the ban on selective schools, a free vote on the Hunting Act, changes to the winter fuel allowance. 13.7 million people voted for these policies, and poof, they're gone.
Well, I'm not going to hide it from you that the election did not turn out exactly as we would have hoped. But as you know...
Didn't you win the election?
Well, we are certainly the largest party, and yes, we did win the election in the sense we are 56 seats ahead of the second party, that's the Labour Party. And so it's our job to form a government if we possibly can, and to get on with what I think is a very progressive Queen's speech, and the one that as I said just now, has three important aspects. First is getting Brexit done and getting it done well. Next, obviously, is the economic measures, a very considerable investment in infrastructure, some very important measures to support our electric vehicle sector, to boost Britain's role in the space industry.
We have listed the policies earlier in the programme. I appreciate you weren't able to hear all of that.
Well, thank you. I'm afraid I was in the chamber, so I must have missed that. But for the benefit of our listeners who perhaps didn't take it in first time...
Well, they can catch it on the iPlayer. Why don't I ask you another question, since you're a busy man? We have a Prime Minister unable to offer solutions to her own burning injustices. She's unable to implement her own manifesto. What's the point of this Prime Minister?
Well, as I say, Theresa May won more votes, I think, than anybody since Margaret Thatcher. Indeed, you may be worth pointing out, the Conservative Party got more votes this time in 2017 than we did in 2015.
And yet you can't implement your key policies.
2 million votes. And the policies that we are announcing today, I think, are excellent. And the challenge really is for Labour to say whether they would support these policies. And I look at these measures. They seem to me to be progressive. They're humane, tackling domestic violence and abuse, dealing, as I've said, with overcharging of tenants, protecting people's data on the internet. These are measures that I think the Labour Party would want to say nothing of the counter-terrorism work that we are doing.
The point of the Prime Minister is?
And Theresa May has, as I say, got more votes than anybody since Margaret Thatcher.
That's what she did. What's her point now?
And to deliver these three objectives.
You can't say what the point of the Prime Minister is.
Yes, it is. The point of the Prime Minister is to lead the country, to give a lead on these key issues, and to take this Queen's speech through. And she will do a great job. And I can tell you something, the people of this country, and I think, have had pretty much enough of elections. I don't think they want to. I think most people want a period of calm. It is true that there are some agitators out here today in Westminster shouting about a day of rage and wanting to overturn democracy and that kind of thing. I don't think they reflect the views of the vast majority of people. Right. I think most people will look at this Queen's speech, look at the measures contained in it, will see a lot to advance the cause of social justice that you described earlier, and I think that they will approve, and I hope that the Labour Party will approve and support it as well.
Thank you. Boris Johnson, the Foreign Secretary.